Hey planners, it's Tay of ShawntePlans and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be sharing the top 10 things needed to dress up your planner. This was a video request that I got from Moonradiate. Thank you so much. Such a fantastic idea, and I thought this was going to be a lot of fun to do. As we know, our kits form the base of what's going to happen on our spread. They give us all the essentials we need to plan out the week, but it's the things that we add into our spreads that really give them tons of personality and help really make them our own. And so in this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 things that I think every planner should add to their stash so that they have a way of bringing in their personality and personal style to their spreads. So if you'd like to see what the 10 things I think you need to dress up your planner are, please just keep watching. The first item on our list are icons. Icons are a fantastic way of emphasizing what you have on the page, and they can be either item specific or generic. And here's what I mean by that. So taking a look at this spread, you can see two examples right here of what I mean by item specific and more of a generic. So here I have laundry marked and I've got a laundry basket right next to the word laundry. It's very clear and specific exactly what's being marked. Now here I have a workout marked, and I decided to use this bow icon because at the time I actually just didn't have a workout icon that I felt would complement this spread and kind of match what I was going for. And so I opted to put down the bow because it was the right colorway and I thought it looked really cute there. So while a bow has nothing to do with a workout, I've used it as an icon just next to what I was marking, and it gave me the look and the effect of having an icon next to the wording. And that's the great thing about icons. They really just help emphasize whatever it is you're writing down on the page, and it really pulls the spread together quite nicely. I definitely recommend having your sort of everyday types of icons, things that are going to cover things for work, for home, chores, like your cleaning icons, things you may do weekly, which for me, polishing my nails is certainly one of those things. And then you also want to have some special occasion icons. And this is an example of special occasion icons. This is a summer vacation type of icons, which is fantastic because they're generally not icons you're going to use on a daily basis, but when and if you decide to have a barbecue, or you're getting ready to go swimming, those are the types of icons that come in handy if you actually have them. It will help you really enhance your spread and create a spread that you really enjoy and that's consistent with your planning style. Then like this one, same thing. We don't go to weddings every day, but it's nice to have something like this in your collection in case you're going to be attending a wedding or a bridal shower, or in case you yourself are getting married and you've got all of these events coming up. In addition to individual sheets, one of the other ways that I personally like to shop for icons is on $2 Tuesdays. What's fantastic about this is that you can get a lot of icons and they're at a great price point, and you can stock up on things that you use fairly regularly in your spreads. I highly recommend adding icons to your collection because they're going to be both very functional and they're also going to really dress up your spreads. The next item on our list are headers, and the 3 classic foils of solid headers are something I consider a staple that every planner should have in their collection. I have mine from Netty Designs, and I really love hers because you get a sheet with 4 columns on here, and so you're getting quite a few headers. And as you can see, I go through them rather quickly because these are something that you can work into just about every spread that you're doing. They add a gorgeous pop of that foil color, and it's really gorgeous on a spread and complements whatever kit you're using. You can also, of course, get foiled headers in colors that are outside of the classic 3, and Rose Color Days is one of my favorite shops to go to when I'm looking for foiled colors that are just kind of outside the box. And that's a nice option there. Another thing I recently discovered, and I haven't had a chance to purchase it in the 3 classic foils yet, but it's at the top of my to-do list once I've gone through these. I'm probably late to the party on this because I'm sure other people have been utilizing this for a while now, but perforated tape headers are so fantastic because what you're getting is a bunch of headers on this roll. So you've got all of these headers. So you're getting really great value for your money because you're getting way more than you could possibly fit on an individual sheet, and they just tear off easily. They're already pre-cut to fit the exact size of the header, and so it's wonderful. And you can get these from different shops. I know for a fact Rose Colored Days has some. I believe Simply Gilded has them as well, and you can get them in the 3 classic foils, which I would highly recommend because you're going to use these colors the most. If your planning style is anything like mine, most people tend to stick with those 3 classic foil colors, and those get pulled into just about every spread that you do. So having that on a tape roll in which you're going to get all of these headers is such a great value for the money. And so I love them. They're super easy to use. You pull it off, it's perforated and cut right to size, and you can put it right on the page. Headers are just one of those classic staples in your collection that if you're not using them, bring them in, try them on your spread. I have a feeling you're going to love them. Next on our list are dividers. Dividers are great for filling in awkward white space that you may have. They're great for breaking things up on the page, and they also have the ability to help soften a spread. And what I mean by that is most of the things that we're using that we get in kits are rectangular in shape. So you've got your half boxes, your full boxes, your quarter boxes, all of these fantastic boxes that you're lining up in a column. And so by using a divider to help separate out that space, what you're doing is adding in an element that's got more curved lines to it, or some sort of visual element that's like thinner. It's giving a different weight and to what's happening in that column. And because of that, it helps lighten up kind of the heavy rectangularness that can come with just using a bunch of boxes stacked on top of each other on the column and on the page. And so dividers are fantastic for that. Dividers are something I like to utilize a lot in my sidebar. They're great for breaking up large blocks of rectangular shaped boxes that we put in our sidebar, which are super functional and necessary. We want to have those there, but the dividers help make it look a little less boxy. Same thing in the column on the page. So rather than having just a quarter box sitting on top of a half box, the divider breaks up that space, and it kind of helps soften that whole look of what's happening right there. I'm a white space planner, and one of the things I like to do is write directly on the page. And because of that, if I'm writing 2 different things directly on the page and they're right next to each other, dividers are another way to help break that up, give some separation, allow for this to mark one thing and this to mark another, and I don't necessarily need to put a box on either, but taking the divider makes it so that they're not occupying the same exact space and they're not just all run together. That's another great way to utilize your dividers and help break up some space, particularly if you're a white space planner. Next on our list are Flourishes. Flourishes are so fantastic. Again, they share a lot of similarities with what's great about dividers in terms of being able to add visual movement to a spread, because they're definitely less static than a box, because by definition, flourishes are curved and they have visual movement to their eye, and it's kind of like looking at your planner through a sort of artistic terminology. In a lot of ways, things that are boxy can be quite static. Things that have curved lines have more movement to them, and it's one way of really sort of just enhancing and bringing your spread to life by bringing in flourishes, because they add so much movement and visual interest. What's also fantastic about flourishes, and in a way that sort of differentiates them from the way that I tend to use dividers, is the layering aspect that comes with them. And you can see an example of that here on this spread, where I've taken this flourish, layered it over a half box, and it just adds so much to what was originally just a solid colored half box. And while the box itself was beautiful and was a gorgeous color, layering that flourish on top of it just really adds in a bit of a focal point to that area of the spread. And on this page, so I did some layering with this flourish here, layered it on top of an icon here. And so it really does find a way to just enhance and create some just fun elements on the page. And that's why I think flourishes are just so fantastic and absolutely a must-have. Our next category is Deco, and Deco makes the list because it brings personality and fun and life into the spread. it's something I'm seeing embraced a lot more and more, and seeing included much more even in kits that are coming out in the planner community, which I think is fantastic. I think deco sheets have always been something that's been like a great add-on option, and I think it's something that people should definitely be utilizing in their spreads, because it really takes it from being something that's just sort of basic and really just elevates it and takes it to the next level. There's so many different options for deco and lots of things that you can do with them in terms of making focal points, for layering on top of boxes, for layering icons on top of your deco. You've got tons of options here, and it is really an opportunity to really bring out your creativity. That's what's so much fun about deco. Half mandalas are something I've been seeing pop up in a lot of spreads lately, and the reason for that is because they make such a gorgeous focal point on your spread. You can get them both foiled or in black. There's lots of different designs and options depending on what shop you're buying it from, and they really just add such a strong visual presence to your spread. They're fantastic. Something that I've always loved is bringing in large floral elements into my spreads. You can layer icons on top of them. You can layer them on top of boxes. You can add them to your spreads in so many different unique ways. And so I've got some florals up here, added in florals here and layered an icon on top of it. And like I was saying over here, I layered the deco on top of this circle box. I've got a piece of deco just sitting here, utilized it almost like an icon, just in place of having an icon, just depending on what the deco piece is. Same thing here. Rather than putting an icon next to this script, I just decided to put down a piece of the deco, and it really enhances a spread, makes it look so gorgeous. Is another fun way of marking what you're writing down and sort of shifting things up so that you can alternate between putting down something that's an icon or putting down a piece of deco and still getting your point across and really just enhancing and pulling your spread together. Next on our list are layering icons, and these are used to help emphasize the icons that we layer on top of them. They come in lots of different shapes, from circles to hexagons to page flags, and this one can be a little bit difficult to see, but we've got tons of different shapes of layering icons on here on this particular sheet. So you've got arrows, page flags, lots of really fun options of different things that you can layer an icon on top of and really help emphasize what you're putting on the page. So an example of layering icon, so we've got an arrow underneath this nail polish icon, a page flag underneath this shopping cart icon, a hexagon underneath this book icon. And what's fantastic about this, because it's very common for icons to be on white paper and foiled. And if you have an icon that's just foil on top of white, adding in a pop of color with a layering icon can help tie it into the spread that you're doing and really help make that icon stand out. It's also really nice if you're wanting to mark something on white space, if you're a white space planner and you don't necessarily want a white icon on a white background. Adding in that little layering element helps it pop off the page, make your point, but you still get the great effect of the white space around it. So layering icons, absolutely fantastic, highly recommend, absolutely. Foil is one of those elements that most planners can't get enough of on their spreads. And adding overlays is a fun way to really enhance the foil that's already happening in a kit, or to add foil to a kit that may not be foiled. Overlays can come in full boxes, half boxes, and in headers. And they are fantastic for adding even more visual interest to your spread. And that is why overlays are number 7 on our list of must-haves. Full box overlays are really great because you can add something that's a very sleek outline to your full box. You can add something that brings in some confetti or some sort of decorative element, or even brings in a focal point if you have more of a simple sort of background-ish looking type pattern happening on your full box, and you have a focal point on your full box overlay. It can really enhance what's happening in that particular full box that you're using. Half box overlays are fun as well. You can go ahead and write down what it is you want to write, then add your overlay on top of it to bring some foil into it and just enhance that. Header overlays, absolutely fantastic, and they're a lot of fun for really jazzing up your headers. I'm particularly partial to these two, of course. These I actually doodled myself. Did them as a collab with Artbox Stickers, and I believe she still has these in her shop. It was so much fun. It was kind of the craziest thing because I had doodled them and I showed it to her and she was like, oh, we could totally turn that into a sticker. And all of a sudden I had a header overlay. It was amazing. But that aside, header overlays are just fantastic, and there are lots of different designs that you can get. A classic confetti I think is a staple because this is kind of just one of the most simple things. This pattern is going to match with a lot of different types of spreads, and it's something really simple and easy to add into whatever kit you're working on. And to that note, I know we talked about tape earlier, and there are of course overlay tapes for headers as well. And so again, you've got the same opportunity to bring in foil on something that's on perforated tape. It's already cut to header size, and you can just pull that off, lay it on top of the header that you're using, and you're good to go. This is something that for me, I feel like may not be necessarily as essential as getting the basic foiled colors in a tape roll. With those solid colored foil headers, those you tend to pull in on so many spreads. I would check out and see exactly how much you're pulling in header overlays before investing in a tape, because you just may not necessarily need to have a tape roll in all 3 foil colors or in as many foil colors as you like to use. You may be fine with just having a sheet of header overlays, because while they're fantastic and fun to pull in, they're not going to be something that you use on every single spread the way you would with the solid foiled headers. So judge that for yourself based on your planning style. You may find that the tape roll is a better investment for you if you're someone who likes to use them often. Next on our list are unique shape boxes, and these are so fantastic for adding interest to your spread and really stepping it up a level. So you've got a lot of options when it comes to unique shape boxes. There are so many different shops out there that are creating lots of different things for us to use, and this is a lot of fun because even though we get tons of quarter boxes and half boxes and third boxes with the kits that we're using, when you're bringing in these types of boxes that, have a totally different shape to them, you can really emphasize a special occasion of something that's happening or something special that you want to mark on your planner that you don't want marked with just a regular old half box or quarter box the way you're marking everything else. Something exciting like a birthday or an anniversary or a party that you're going to, anything like that, you can use a special box to emphasize it. Or honestly, you could work it in just for kind of everyday elements. It really just depends on your personality and what you're feeling for your spread that week. I really love bringing in different shape boxes because it breaks up kind of the monotony of box on top of box on top of box on top of box going down the line of a column. So for example, here we've got a scallop circle that helps break up sort of the quarter box and the half box that are used in this column. This fancy shaped box here, which I always forget the name of this particular box. It's from Sweet Bella XOXO, and I call them little fancy boxes. That's not their actual name, but it's what I enjoy calling them. And they are wonderfully little fancy boxes, and they make a great statement on the page. And as you can see, you can layer icons on top of them, or you can use them on their own because they just pack such a great visual punch to them. It just depends on how you want to work it into your spread. And without a doubt, what became my instant favorite unique shape box to use are the bowstrung boxes from the Given Girl. They're so gorgeous, they're so feminine, they're so dainty and beautiful, and they just add so much interest to the page because they are adorable. I absolutely love them. Think that everyone should try them if you haven't. They're amazing. Number 9 on our list are character stickers. Character stickers are a perfect way to add personality to your spread. They can convey emotion, they can be playful or stylish. They really bring in just so much of your personality to the spread based on whatever style of character sticker you decide to add to the page. And I think it's nice to have a wide variety of options when it comes to character stickers. Depending on the type of spread you're using, you may want something more playful, you may want something a little bit more chill. It just depends on what you're going for. And the fantastic thing is that there are so many different shops that you can go to and find things. You can find character stickers that are more like animal stickers, that are people, this one's Disney themed, that are people, and you can get character stickers that are very similar to you and specific to your skin tone, your hair type, your hair color, or you could do something that's a little more generic. Characters from Once More with Love, and I think the other shop is the Coffee Monsters Co. Very popular because these aren't person specific, they're just animated little characters, and they have them doing all sorts of fun different things, and so you can use them to highlight lots of different activities that you're doing. In some ways you can use character stickers just like an icon. They could also be used similarly to the way that you would use Deco to emphasize whatever you're putting on the page, to help highlight or be a focal point, to help bring in something sort of different to the page so that things aren't so boxy. You can layer them over quarter boxes and half boxes. You can put them next to a script sticker. Character stickers just give you tons of fun options to really add a lot of personality to your spread. So on this spread, you can see I brought in this cat character sticker, and she's digging through her grocery bag, doing yoga, and relaxing on a pillow. And I essentially pulled all of these in almost like icons to emphasize what it was that I was marking for that particular part of my spread. The final item I think every planner needs to decorate their spread is something you don't have to go out and buy at all. And that item is white space and balance. When you're putting all of these things on your spreads, you want to make sure that you give it the space on the page and in the column to make the impact and emphasis that you're trying to get from it. So if you're putting down something where it's a decorative shaped box and you've got a flourish and you've got an icon, add some white space around it so that you're not detracting from the focal points that you're putting on your page, so that they're allowed to pop and they're allowed to stand out, and you really get the full impact of what you're doing. You want to be careful so that you don't overcrowd the things that you're doing and give space in between what you're marking. And it's fun because I'm someone who definitely likes having a full spread, and I put quite a bit on the page, but I try to be as conscious as I can of breaking things up so that everything's not on top of each other, and that I'm also trying to utilize writing directly on the paper and not always just on top of a quarter box or half box or some sort of box. And by doing that, it helps to break up the spread so that it doesn't look as crowded. And I think that's just a fun and easy trick of just sort of helping to break up your spreads, is just write directly on the paper. And sort of alternate between that, because you can definitely have some columns where you do have a lot more boxes and a lot more stickers that you're layering and writing on top of. But if you add in some white space, it will really help give some balance to your spread. Also take into consideration what's happening on each side of the page, because when you put down one item, it becomes a focal point. When you put down multiples of that item, it becomes a decorative element on the page. And so you can have something here where I have this flourish in the sidebar. It's the only flourish like this in this entire spread, and because it's in the sidebar, it becomes then a focal point of that part of the column. And so it's fine that that's a focal point. It doesn't necessarily need to have another one on this side of the page, but because I opted to bring in multiples of these flourishes going across the page, it helps bring balance to both sides. If I'd had multiples of these flourishes just on this side of the page and there were none of those flourishes on this side, it would throw off the balance of what's happening on the page visually, and it wouldn't have the same visual impact because something would seem a little bit off balance. So it's not that you always necessarily have to repeat every single element that you're doing, but if you are going to repeat elements on one side of the page, it's nice to have it on both sides of the page to even things out visually. So I really hope that tip helps and makes sense. If you guys have any questions on anything I've covered in this video, be sure to leave it in the comments. I'll be glad to get back to you. If you have video suggestions or requests that you guys want to make, you can leave those in the comments as well. Again, I want to say a big thank you to Moonradiate for this idea. This was so much fun pulling this video together, and so unique and different from anything that I would have thought of. I hope this was helpful and that you guys are all having an amazing day and staying safe. I'll see you next video. Bye.